Hello YouTube, this is Justin Game 44 here, and today I want to say, wait a minute, hold on, camera come down here please. Hello YouTube, this is Justin Game 44 here, and today we are here to review episode 2 of the amazing digital circus. Now, I have to say, this was actually an interesting episode and kind of fun as well. Now, in the amazing digital circus, honestly, in this episode here, it first starts off as a nightmare where Ponyi is dreaming that she is getting extracted and is becoming, corrupted. Just like what happened in the last episode with another character. But sadly, she gets dumped into the giant abyss, and the characters above are all looking, saying, well, it was just not meant to be. Or, I already forgot her name from Jax. And what happens is basically she wakes up in her room, and it's all nothing more but a nightmare. And Ragtha came in and basically said it's time for a new adventure that Kane came up with. Kane explains that they are going to a candy world to hunt down gummy crocodiles that stole the syrup from the kingdom, and it's their job to bring it back. Now, it's worth noting the next few episodes will be something like this, where Kane will always have them on an adventure that's basically kind of based off a different kind of video game or something. This is kind of like a chase game, kind of with some type of candy game as well, like Candy Crush. Even though it's not really like that, it's just with a bunch of candy characters. Anyway, they all do go except for one character, Sumi, who, or I might have got that name wrong, but honestly, I just found out she was an actual toy and everything, and was surprised to find that out. But no, as well, I just realized that she actually, in each episode, she slightly changes up her appearance with different parts, as she can put herself into different ways and has multiple pieces. But we'll get that into the next episode. Until then, let's focus on what's in the main episode here. She chooses not to go and stays out of this mission, while Kane sends the rest on their way. During this time, the characters are all basically welcomed into a kingdom of candy, a princess and everything, who are all NPCs, not real characters. And they were given the quest and the information that they were given. They were also given a truck and everything that would basically help them, as well the keys to the city to come in the kingdom and come out. They went out and they started to have a chase with the crocodiles. But before they did, we got a chance to see the crocodiles, and they were all talking about what they were going to do with the syrup, and the main one was basically talking about his own mother a little bit before the main characters arrived for the chase. They all got in and started to get away, and it actually ended up to this epic chase scene. Well, really not epic, I would say, but it's really funny. Jax was basically being a jerk to everyone and kind of blackmailing Giddy. Ugh, honestly, I can't really remember these names at times. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm basically just going to call them by some other names. And, well, Jax is basically being a jerk to everyone. And eventually, though, besides all this, Ponyi is to sadly get onto the other truck, thanks to Jax being a jerk by throwing her and trying to use her as a bridge. And during this time, the main characters, their truck fell into a giant syrup pan river, while the other characters, who is only just Ponyi and the main crocodile, as the others have somehow got off the truck, and they all glitch out into under the map, where the crocodile discovers all the NPCs, characters, models, and he's in shock, especially when he's looking at himself all line up. We also get a chance to see another one we haven't seen yet, the monster. And apparently during this time, Pawnee, honestly, they kind of have a talk and everything where the crocodile wants to know everything, who he really is and everything. And eventually he soon realizes that he's nothing more but an NPC. Which, I'm not gonna lie, when I first watched this episode, up until that point, I thought all those characters were also people trapped in the video game and were just staying over there. But I was completely wrong with that part. It turns out they were all just NPCs. The princess, who was basically the one who explained the quest to them again and gave them the truck and the gummy crocodiles and everything. Now, the gummy crocodile is basically like, couldn't believe it that his existence was kind of a lie and all made up and feel like there's no more point. But Pawnee basically helps him and even offers him to join her in the amazing digital circus. And he agrees after a little bit of a talk, and they work a way to get up back to the map and everything. And during this time, the other characters are all basically in the river where they come across a monster that almost eat them, but after finding out they were not candy, he wouldn't. It turns out this monster used to live in the kingdom, but was exiled and banished because he was eating all the citizens. And Jax actually agrees to help him get back into the kingdom since he has the key. Which, yeah, psychopath if you ask me. He basically wants to see all the people get eaten. And during this time, when this was all happening, Kinger and Ragnan were kind of like having a talk, as Kinger had a bucket over his head, and was actually talking a bit less crazy. But the moment he lifted up the bucket, he said, "What?" Basically, he was confused, like having no idea again. Now, as it turns out, though, the Crocodile and Crocodile and Pawnee both eventually got back and destroyed the monster. And because of that, there were now 2 trucks that had syrup. The 2 crocodiles took that away, while the main crocodile chose to stay with the characters and go with them, and went back to the amazing digital circus. Everything seemed well and everything, except for the fact when Kane saw the NPC, he deleted him from the from the circus and everything, and Pawnee was like, "What?" and was shocked. But it turns out Kane doesn't allow that, where NPCs stay and everything. And some of the other characters pointed out that maybe he will come back in another adventure or something. But that was most likely not going to be happening. Anyway, Pawnee is like shocked and kind of back into the state she was back in the end of the first episode. And during this time, we also see it was also time for a funeral for Cosmo, who turns out they hold the funeral because of Pawnee's arrival and everything, giving her some time. Everyone attended except for Jax. It was kind of like a bit of a sad ending in a way, as they were holding a memorial for him, and Jax was the only one that didn't show up for it. So, anyway, what was my opinion about this episode? Honestly, it was pretty great. I did love the chasing and everything. It was really funny how Jax was just being a jerk to everyone again, getting everyone to do what he kind of wanted with the driver, and also basically just not really caring all that much, and just kind of actually wanting to destroy the whole kingdom. Heck, they should have made him the evil villain boss in this episode. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I was kind of a bit disappointed because I thought we were gonna get a new character at the end when it came to the gummy crocodile. And it only turns out he gets deleted right away. Like, wow. And it turns out it's funny because the princess of that kingdom, before they went back to the circus, basically said, "Oh, you're going to have him executed." And they all said, "Yeah," kind of nervously, but kind of faking it. As none of them really knew that was going to happen, because Kane ended up deleting him right after they just arrived back. So anyway, what do I really think about this episode now that that's all over? Well, it's definitely a 9 out of 10, but kind of a bit more than how I feel. Like, I will admit, no episode was truly perfect, but I think this episode definitely did a bit more better than episode 1. Because technically, episode 1 was just the introduction of the characters. As for the episode that comes after, they do get better on more and more. But until then, Justin Game 44, signing out. Until then, I'll see you all later. Bye!